Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. I absolutely love the Mount Rushmore conversation because you can go so many different directions with it, especially in WWE or pro wrestling or sports entertainment, however you want to name this domain. I mean, you could do the Mount Rushmore of in-ring ability. You could do the Mount Rushmore of charisma. You could do the Mount Rushmore for greatest of all time. But does greatest of all time include most money sold, most tickets, most impact? What do you include in your greatest of all time to even start selecting your specific Mount Rushmore? And that's really how the person who is receiving the question, because usually it gets asked on, podcasts. The Rock got asked it, and Ric Flair gets asked it, and The Undertaker most recently got asked it. Like, it's on the person receiving the question how they even take it. And so I love this conversation. For those that don't know, I will give you my professional wrestling Mount Rushmore of John Cena, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, and Macho Man Randy Savage. That is my top four. Those are my greatest of all time. There's a little bit of bias in there because, of course, I personally like those wrestlers more than most any other wrestlers. But I think if you look at some of the stuff that should be included in your Mount Rushmore of in-ring ability, longevity, charisma, ability to move and sell tickets, right? Just overall generational type talent. Like, you cannot miss someone like John Cena, who I think is the greatest of all time. Randy Orton deserves way more credit and should be on way more Mount Rushmore lists. Macho Man Randy Savage could literally do it all, was the pinnacle of a sports entertainer. And of course, Shawn Michaels, one of the best in-ring competitors of all time, and just an unbelievable professional wrestler, sports entertainer. So if you're wondering, those are my four. And then Undertaker goes on this podcast called Nightcap with Shannon Sharp, and of course, they ask one of the most famous wrestlers of all time, The Undertaker, what his Mount Rushmore is. And The Undertaker named Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Ric Flair as The Undertaker's Mount Rushmore. Again, let me say that again. You have Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Ric Flair. That's who The Undertaker named as his Mount Rushmore. Now, The Undertaker could have also named himself in that Mount Rushmore. The Undertaker is an extremely, extremely popular pick when it comes to Mount Rushmore, greatest of all time. But you see here, The Undertaker's list is pretty straightforward. This is a pretty usual and normal list that people talk about, right? Andre the Giant, I mean, like one of the greatest wonders we've ever seen in the world of professional wrestling. Of course, Hulk Hogan, who had just recently passed away, is the most influential sports entertainer and professional wrestler of all time. Like, without Hulk Hogan and the run he had and the person he was and what his character stood for, and his partnership with Vince McMahon, and how they just carried that and sold out arenas and started WrestleManias and just created lifelong, lasting, iconic moments. Even Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan together, at WrestleMania, the slam heard around the world. I mean, that stuff is absolutely iconic. I mean, and professional wrestling and sports entertainment and WWE, WWF are way different than they are now in terms of how they're presented. There's so much backstage knowledge and information and inside secrets that happen now that just didn't happen back then. And so it was a different ballgame, it was a different atmosphere. I think people were more obsessed back then than they are now. I mean, there's still people who are very obsessed, including myself. I've been obsessed since I was 13, you know what I mean? But it's like a different version of it. We want to know the inside secrets, but we don't. We want to be surprised, but we don't at the same time. It's very interesting. So, of course, like, a very normal pick is Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, like two of the greatest and most iconic of all time. People still think, like, even when I was coming up in the game of professional wrestling and I was an independent professional wrestler, to sort of explain to people what I did, I was like, it's like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, like things and names that people know. Oh, you do entertainment wrestling. Oh, you do like WWE. Yes, because you have to give them names that they can associate with so then they can put the pieces together. And then so Undertaker named Andre the Giant. Easy pick. Hulk Hogan, another easy pick. And then people love the pick of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's usually not in my list just because of longevity. And now, obviously, it's not his fault. He got injured, broke his neck, had a lot of injuries. But the time that Stone Cold Steve Austin was on top of the game, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, just absolutely dynamic, could do it all, right? Had a stunning Steve personality, transformed himself really into the person he is with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin 316 says, I'm going to whoop your ass, right? Just became the guy, became someone that everyone wanted to be. Like, everyone wanted to beat their boss. Everyone wanted to smash some beers together. Everyone wanted to flip off the middle finger, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin became, not to steal another person's catchphrase, but he became the people's champion because of how just regular he was and how authentic he was. And then on top of that, obviously he could do everything you needed to do inside of the ring. And so Stone Cold Steve Austin's a great pick. I just don't put him on my Mount Rushmore because longevity. But man, did he move tickets? Did he make money? Did he sell out arenas when he was on top? And then one that is interesting if you go just WWE guys or you go all pro wrestlers of all time. You have Ric Flair, one of the most iconic professional wrestlers of all time, right? Wheeling and dealing, kiss stealing, son of a gun. Just, the pinnacle of a professional wrestling sort of persona that's been stolen and copied by tons and tons of wrestlers over the years. Ric Flair doing the damn thing. And so The Undertaker picks sort of your standard core that a lot of people do pick in Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Ric Flair, right? Undertaker could have threw himself in there, right? You could have had The Rock in there. Of course, you can have a Shawn Michaels in there. I think Triple H should be part of the discussion. Macho Man Randy Savage should be part of the discussion, right? All of those sorts of things. But I just love the conversation because you can go so many different directions with your Mount Rushmore pick. And so that's my sort of breakdown of The Undertaker naming his Mount Rushmore on the Nightcap podcast. A very standard sort of selection for The Undertaker. Pretty easy picks. Probably didn't think a lot about it. But yeah, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Ric Flair going up against my John Cena, Randy Orton, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Shawn Michaels. Which one do you like better? And then the real question is, what's your Mount Rushmore? Please drop that in a comment down below. Your Mount Rushmore. Why? Do you agree with Undertaker? Do you like mine? What's your take on the whole Mount Rushmore conversation? I enjoy it just because it can go so many different directions and you don't know how people process like greatest of all time or really what's most important to them in terms of charisma or longevity or in-ring ability or being able to move tickets or promos or how emotionally connected they are to it. It's a beautiful conversation. So I want to know what you think in the comments down below. Then like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.